All right, guys, it's New Year's Eve. Um, Joe's day off, so he's going to show you what he's doing on his day off. He's going to do some Mike Tyson squats. You all should know the drill. You take a set of cards and you squat to put the cards down. You put one, then you put two cards down, then three cards, then four cards. Move down the line, and then he's going to swipe them all up because he's going to do some plank back work, which will end up working his upper and lower back. And he's going to, when he's done with three sets of all of this, uh, usually he does 5 sets, sometimes 6. But we're just going to do 3 sets of this, and then he'll move on and he'll do some dumbbell work for the back. He'll do some shrugs and such, and you'll be able to see it. So here we go. You ready, son? All right. So he's just squatting down. He's not going all the way down, allowing his calves to touch the back of the thighs, but he's going down quite a bit enough, and this will really uh, work your legs. And I'm telling you right now, his legs are on fire right now. But normally he'll do 5 to 6 sets of this, and it's good to work yourself up to do 1,000 of these throughout the day. Not, of course, not at one time, but your total accumulated number to get up to about 1,000. And Joe's got loose shorts on here, loose leg shorts. So you can't see his legs getting pumped, but I assure you, Joe's got some pretty big legs. It's not his biggest attribute, but they are bigger than Mike Tyson's legs were. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, Joe's legs are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this right here is a really will work you. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So, all this stuff that he does, boy, it'll really work you. Just give it a shot and see what you think. It should work you. Of course, there should be a lot of this calisthenics that uh, maybe you've got strength at that you should be able to do more. And keep in mind, Joe's just 16. And to finish my thought off, uh, Joe's legs are bigger than Mike Tyson's were at 16. Joe's uh, big like Mike Tyson was at 16. As a matter of fact, uh, Joe is a little bigger. I was uh, fortunate enough to be able to see and be around Mike Tyson when he was 15 he was probably about 15 and a half when we got to go up and go in for really a few hours or half of a day. And we got to see Teddy Atlas, Kevin Rooney, Cuss himself, all those guys that were up there. Uh, and this would have been in 80, I believe, 81. Could have been 82. My memory's failing me here a little bit. But Mike Tyson started doing these squats here when he was in jail. And he just, if you remember, Joe calls it prison jacked. He came out of prison jacked, and thicker and more massive than he did when he went in by doing things like this, because he didn't have access to the free weights or weight machines in there, and so you would have to do what you could with the available space that you had, and do what you could. Is hundreds of push-ups a day. There's a guy that Punching Bag Skunk mentioned. You should go check his channel out. He is very old school, a former very good professional boxer, and his name is Greg Towns. They call him Ghetto Greg. He's a wonderful guy. We love him up in here. But he was talking about this guy, Ron Lyle, and he was talking about people saying that, you go from one champion to the next. I mean, there's a lot of you guys saying a couple of years ago that 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you guys may say, well, it's only 20 seconds. Well, give it in combination with doing this stuff, all these things, and see how that 20 seconds will work the crap out of you. This is very aggressive work here. It don't look like it, but it is. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. But he was mentioning something that's so true. And what Greg said was, a lot of the guys and boxing channels and stuff, and then a lot of the comment sections and such, that people are like saying whoever's the champion of the day, whoever's got a good win recently, that they are just the greatest thing going. And so Joe's always doing push-ups. I can't believe he's doing these in between sets, but yeah, I can. But anyway, Ghetto Greg was talking about the people stating like now that Alexander Usyk is the greatest of all time, and look, I'm saying the same thing that Greg Towns is saying. Go check him out, Punching Bag Skunk. No, he's not even, shouldn't even be mentioned as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Nowhere near there. Neither should Tyson Fury, in my opinion. And he starts mentioning some of these guys' names. Ron Lyle, Ernie Shavers, um, Jerry Quarry, uh, Jimmy Young. Now, I've added some names to what he was talking about. Most of these guys that didn't win a belt back in the 70s or 60s uh, could beat the crap out of anybody today. And I would just tell you, go back and look at the fights. Shouldn't have to even there be a debate over it. You go look at the fights. All you have to do, just look at the fights. And you put your Everlast trunks on. Yeah, so you can kind of see Joe's legs are getting big, and he rarely does squats. And but a lot of our just top 10 guys back in the 70s or prior to the 70s could whoop anybody in the top 10 today. All these giants would be falling like rotten timber. They'd just be falling. And of course, it's hard to, you get in a mindset, you're younger, and but I'm just would tell you, go look at the fights. Go look at some of the older fights. Go look at the bang of Sonny Liston. Go look at the speed of Ali pre-stripping, before he got the title strip. There's never a heavyweight that quick. Probably there may never be again. Mike Tyson, pre and a portion post-prison. And it's just no comparison, in my humble opinion. And I believe all that's required and necessary to understand that is to go look at these older fights. Everything's on YouTube now. We can all see everything. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. This is killer. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Good job, son. And, you know, you start talking to some of the old timers, and you're going to see that folks that are doing a lot of this stuff that Joe does, this is a day off. Joe's got New Year's Eve and New Year's Day off from training. And look at what he's doing. This is the day off. He's like, no, Dad, I'm going to do some work. I said, well, I'll video it. But today and tomorrow is the day off. And I'll guarantee you tomorrow he's going to do something too. It may not be a full workload, but that's the commitment. That's what you got to do. And this is why there's nobody Joe's age that can handle it in the ring with him. There's a lot of people that, oh, I could handle that. And then we come up and we do medium sparring or light sparring even, and they'll quit. They're like, they don't come back. And but everybody's a tough guy till they do it. And is that Joe or what I'm doing with him is that there's just are not doing with him. But is there just like exceptionalism or prodigy stuff going on here? No, sirree, Bob, Babaloo. It is the work ethic that's exceptional. And I don't know how, we've got grown men that 4 or 5 inches taller than Joe, 6 inches taller, outweighing him by 25, 30, 40 pounds, and they can't handle it. They think they can, but then they can't. But, well, we haven't even had anybody that think they can here lately because Joe's just physically starting to be very imposing now as he's becoming a man. But forever and a day, everybody be like, oh, yeah, I spar all the time down here at this boxing league or this boxing league. I'm in the Olympic thing in Bogota. And then they come around and they're like, no, I ain't never seen nothing like this in my life. I can't handle it. And nobody hits like this guy. And back in my day, everybody hit like this guy. Well, let me rephrase that. Joe's got a gift of punching power, but everybody hit a lot harder than they do today. It was no, and Greg touched on another thing that was interesting in the video he put out today. Again, go see Punching Bag Skunk. He was talking about you have to be a boxer and a fighter. And I'll stretch it further. You have to be a boxer and the artist of knockouts, because you're going to get hung up if you're missing something. I don't know if Joe's going to do any bag work today, but if he does, especially if he gets on the reflex cobra bag, we'll put a short up. But the problem I see, especially at the amateur level, well, I see it all across the board. Because in the professional ranks, you can't get nobody that can go a solid 12 rounds. Back in the day, the 13th, 14th, and 15th rounds were championship rounds. Today, you can't even get nobody to go 12. The gassing out, slowing down. And in the amateur ranks, you can't find nobody that wants to fight. You about can't find it anywhere, but a lot of these guys that's why we like Tank Davis up in here, the same as a lot of you. That kid can box and fight, and he's a serious dude. Yeah, he's got some eccentricness about him. He's a Baltimore guy, grew up in the street guy, so he's kind of abrasive for a lot of people, even for me. But I'm telling you that kid can fight, and he can not only box, he can knock you out, and then he has the added advantage on it of being a lefty. And that's one added advantage we got up in here, because Joe can fight either way. I tell him, we do a peekaboo style. Joe's not really, he'll lead off with some jabs, but he'll come right out with a right jab, and I say jab, just as good and as fanciful and as hard as he does with his left. This kid can hit with either arm, but a lot of these guys are working. They're doing a lot of things. They're And the thing that's really killer for me to see today is you got these guys working so much cardio that it's unbelievable. Yet they can't go 12 rounds. And it's unbelievable to me. And there's the killer instinct's not there. You know, a lot of people are saying that Daniel Dubois is now the greatest because he knocked out a guy that never could fight, which was Anthony Joshua, and a guy that don't have a chin. And but he got punched in the eye and quit himself. So there's nobody today that compares to yesteryear. Even into the 90s, when you still had Tyson kicking around. You had Riddick Bowe. You had Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis. But anybody from the 70s would have took them out, in my opinion. If I had to give a top five, if I was dealing in heavyweights here, Jimmy Young would be the best defensive fighter I've ever seen. Did not win a championship, but in fact did beat Ali, although they gave Ali a bad decision win. Sonny Liston would be somewhere in my top 5 or 6. Of course, Muhammad Ali would be way up there, top 3. Joe Louis would be my top guy. As far as somebody that could throw hooks, 2 guys, one of them I would put over the other, and the first one would be Joe Frazier. Another guy would be a not so well known big tall guy, Jerry Cooney. He had a mean left hook as well. I'd have Foreman up there for longevity. There's a lot of guys. Our departed friend who is in heaven right now, Ernie Shavers, who really meant a lot to me and helped me a lot for several decades. He could have won a championship in any other era than the era he was in, I believe. You got a lot of great guys. Trying to think of the guy's name, Ernie Terrell. Ernie Terrell would be a champion today. The only fight they really show him in much is when he fought Ali and took a shellacking, and didn't want to call Ali, still calling him Clay. But you got to look past the big things and look, that guy could fight. He was a big, tall guy. And a lot of you don't know, when Diana Ross quit the Supremes, Ernie Terrell's sister became the lead singer of the Supremes after Diana Ross. And they had a big hit song in maybe 73 or 74 called Stone Love. It went up to about the top 10 or 15, I believe. It was a big hit. It was a good song. Anyway, I thought I'd throw that out there for trivia to anybody that's listening. But you got to put the work in. If you ain't going to work, if you ain't going to get out here and run, do rope work, I wouldn't even mess with a guy that was sitting and tell me, oh, I'm not going to jump rope. Oh, I'm not going to run. Oh, I'm just going to run on a treadmill. Oh, I'm just going to do this. No, and heck to the no. I'd tell he or she, because he's got women boxers now, I'd be honest with them and I'd say, you might make $1 million, you might make 20, but you're not going to amount to anything, and you're going to, I guess when you make the money, it doesn't make any difference, but, and today standards are totally different, but you got to put the work in. You got to put the right type of work in. And people just aren't putting the work in no more. Around here, we take a hardcore approach that was given to me 40 years ago, that in the 70s, that by guys that would have been considered hardcore back then, and that is you build the body. Your body needs to be a stalwart, a jettison from which everything comes. You got to have everything strong from even the jaw and neck down. Got to have a lot of strength. You got to build a lot of muscularity about yourself. And I believe a fighter should fight in the weight that he is in and the weight that he settles in. And another thing I believe is we need to go back to weighing fighters on the morning of the fight. No more of this mess, and then nobody will have to argue on weights and things like that. And it's important to keep in mind, folks, before me and before my time, fighters were weighed right when they got in the ring. They weren't weighed in the back. They'd bring weight scales out. In some cases, a weight scale would be set up inside the ring in the introductions. And that would be the do or die of it, whether fight would take place. And generally that made fights take place because you'd be up there in the ring, and then the guy that didn't make the weight would be monetarily penalized, and of course would forfeit. If it was a championship fight, would forfeit a championship. But all this mess going on today, the scientific game plan, all this snack crap, you got a criminal running that's tied in with all this VADA stuff. The cheaters are the ones that these guys, seems like they're being forced to pay to help them cheat and make it through this testing and stuff. And then the politicking comes in. You have a fighter that maybe leans one way or another way on the social structure of the day or political structure. They get busted, but the one that leans the other way, they don't. And it's just all this needs to go away. We need to get back to real boxing. And you know what? If we're not going to clean up amateur boxing and going to allow the 13-year-old boy claim he's a woman and get in with and beat up a girl, what the hell do we think we're going to expect in professional ranks of boxing? So it's time for a great awakening, and that woke goes broke and goes away, because there's nothing there that's good, and things need to be more on the up and up. So anyway, this was Joe's Day Off. Hope you enjoyed watching this and listening to my old mouth with my old stories. I want to end this by saying that to keep in mind, this was a day off, and tomorrow will be a day off too, but I know Joe will do something. I don't know if I'll video it or not, but if he gets into a good, decent groove like he did now, I'll videotape it. But whatever he decides, whatever he's going to do, I know he'll do something. But keep working, make what you do on your day off to be almost as much as what somebody does on a grinding day, and you'll be a winner. And I'll finish with this. Christ is our King up here in this house in all of our unperfectness. And we thank Christ for being our Savior and for what he did in Calvary. And he is our King. We love you. We hope everybody has a great new year and a wonderful 2025. And we'll probably see you on the first day of the year tomorrow.